Ready to call it to order. Call meeting to order. You want to do roll call for us, Becca, please?
I would. Brian Benema,
Here.
Christine Fobb. Here. Monica McHugh. Here. Emerita Key, excused absence. Sandra Gerlach, excused absence. Tom Stewart, excused absence, and Mike First.
Here.
Barely had a form.
Yes.
Tom said he'd probably try to get on by Zoom if we needed him. With that being done, we'll, everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the November 17th meeting. If there's no corrections or any discussion, entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Monica, second by anybody?
Second.
Second by Chris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Next order of business, the way it looks is we will start on, again, our work session on the high density, blah, 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 whatever it's you're calling it. Yeah, it's
The acronym.
That's for now.
Yes.
You never know, it might change.
HDCF, I can't remember what CF is for.
Computing.
Here it is, okay. So, Becca?
Computing or crypto, because this has got, the ordinance got crypto in it. Please.
Data
purple.
processing, crypto mining.
Yeah,
So
so
does that need to be changed to computing
It is.
instead of crypto?
It's data processing and crypto mining facilities.
yeah,
But it looks like within the draft. So if you look, well, it doesn't have page numbers, after like section 4, application and review process. Overall of review process, it's application for high density computing facilities, but we have it as crypto mining facilities on the first page.
Which has got it, yeah, which has got that parentheses, data processing and crypto mining.
But if you go to,
In the orders.
right, but then if you go here, section 3, high density computing facilities. And then section 4, it's high density computing facilities, so we probably need to pick one or the other.
What is it in the definitions?
high density computing facility.
So. it
But
should-
does that include data processing and crypto mining in the
The term
definitions?
includes facilities commonly referred to as data centers, cryptocurrency mining operations, or similar computing intensive uses, whether primary or accessory in nature.
So you could leave it the way it is with that then, right?
Well, what I'm getting at is that if you look at how it's written in the sections, so if you look at section 3, high density computing facilities. So do we want, is it all where it says the HDCF, does it all say high density computing?
So it's not consistent.
Yeah,
Because like when you look at the very first page, the ordinance, it has the data processing and crypto mining and parentheses. And then in the rest of the places, it doesn't.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So one or the other.
yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
that's what I'm getting.
Okay.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. HDCF, gotcha. Okay. So at our November 17th work session, the commission provided direction on many core sections of the draft. Staff incorporated that feedback and also completed the remaining sections. Or we have now the remaining sections that we did not have time to discuss that night. So, what changed since the last meeting? Cooling systems now require air-cooled or closed loop. Structural standards are added. Sanitary systems are deferred to the Health Department authority. And the Board of Adjustment approval terminology is clarified. So we now have to discuss road use and infrastructure agreement, decommissioning and abandonment, enforcement and penalties, and miscellaneous provisions. Should we can probably first start off with the discussion topic that is not been included in the draft, and that is whether the commission wants to address the CSR scores or prime agricultural land more explicitly. And we could refer to the handout for that. And we can see where we want to include it also. So agricultural resource considerations in reviewing proposed HDCFs. The county recognizes the importance of preserving productive agricultural land as a long-term resource. Accordingly, the location of an HDCF on land classified as prime or highly productive agricultural ground may be considered as part of the overall siting evaluation, particularly where alternative sites with lower agricultural value are available.
Well, I was the one that brought this up to Becca. I just, have a real problem with using high, don't like to say high quality farm ground, that's only very productive farm ground, and even if it's not productive, it's good, you know, and Jackson County pasture ground is very
Mhm.
valuable. Okay, so, I just, I have an issue with taking good ground out of production, put one of these facilities on. Or to put a lot of things on, to tell you the truth. But yeah,
I agree.
I mean, we see way too much good farm ground being taken under production for a lot of stuff that shouldn't be.
I don't disagree, but on the other hand, when you have farmers who are looking at their farm plans and having a income side, how can you tell them no when it's their own land? I mean, I wouldn't put one on mine, but if you've got, you know, a beginning farmer that's out there that's trying to buy ground and they can put one there to help their cash flow, that's my concern.
But they're not gonna own the ground at that point. Nobody's gonna put a data center on ground they don't own. So somebody would have had to sold that land already.
Well,
We're writing a data center ordinance.
that really isn't true, because the one I looked at in Western Iowa, the guy was leasing the ground to him.
Was it, but in our ordinance, we're requiring foundations.
Yeah, I understand that, so it's probably different, I'm just saying, that was the case there. And that person was making a lot of money on it. Way more than he would by renting out.
Well, that's just, I mean, that's just
Yeah.
it, because I get it, we don't wanna lose it.
Mhm.
But, you know, 30 years ago, if we'd had an opportunity like this to put something like this on our farm ground for a cash flow incentive, we'd have done it in a heartbeat. Today, not so much, but, you know,
I'm not so sure it's that much different 30 years ago than it would have been. You know, if
yeah,
you're gonna make the kind of money they're talking about. And the other thing is we are restricting them other ways not just because of, you know, the quality of the ground that they have.
But the way she's written it up here. It doesn't say you cannot use it, it's just,
It goes into the
Yep.
formula. that-
Yeah.
consider this. So I like that.
And although it's already prohibited in A1. So maybe it's already excluding some, but
It would help.
Well, it
ask
is,
us to
but-
rezone it.
But it's
Right.
hard
And we saw
Sell
that
it.
was high CSR, we're not rezoning it.
yes, just gives more check boxes.
Yeah. But is that a guarantee that we're not rezoning it just because of the high
So
CSR?
it depends on who's sitting here that night, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not going anywhere. are you?
I'm not gonna be here that much longer. Tell you that. I'm old enough to be done with this. I just think we should have that ability to preserve our good crop ground. Or good crop pasture ground, I mean, restrict it just, because I know how valuable pasture ground is for people also.
And I can get something written up and include it in next month's draft for review.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are, if we have to set a guideline as to what the CSR and CSR two numbers need to be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and I can do some research and see if that's been included in other county ordinances
Okay,
and kind of at least start from there.
But to start with, I like what you've got written here.
I think the other thing we've got to keep in mind, and I know it's probably never gonna happen, you gotta learn to get to the point where you never say never, is we're talking small operations here now. But what if we end up with some big company that wants to come in somewhere and put something big in? And you're using up 80 acres or 40 acres. Then it's quite a bit of different story. And I know we can sit here and say that, but you're gonna be here 40 years from now?
Probably not, but my concern with this is. You know, when you're looking at restricting this, because if you go back. So we've been married almost 38 years. When you go back and look at what we produced 38 years ago. You were planting corn on 38-inch rows. Every stalk had 5 years of corn on it. And if you got 150 bushel the acre, it was great. Today, you look at that. And you're drilling corn in. You know, you're sitting on extremely low. Or, you know, extremely narrow rows. Each stalk has 1 ear of corn, and if you get below 250 bushels the acre. You got a poor crop. So. It's great to restrict this now. But. We're able to produce more bushels per acre today than what we were 40 years ago. So what's gonna change in 40 years?
More crop grounds can be taken out of production.
It's gonna be gone.
Sure it is.
But look at what we've been
Can't
able to
keep growing
do.
crop.
But what you've been able to do for the amount of ground. And
At some point, it's not gonna work though.
I don't disagree on that, but. What are you willing to tell people who own that ground what they can do with it? That's my concern with this. Because we wanna have something that we've got some regulation on. But we also don't wanna restrict people because they own their ground. And are you gonna tell somebody who's got 400 acres that the middle 40, they can't do anything with, even though they're half a mile from neighbors? That's my concern.
But then we just do that with the wind ordinance. tell them what they can't do it.
That's why I said some of the same things in the wind ordinance.
Well, that, I mean, we are, I'm not
Maybe that-
saying there's a wind ordinance, I'm not going one way or the other in the wind ordinance, it's just,
That's
are,
just
are
my
we
concern.
kind of sitting there? Isn't that what zoning is kind of about?
We are, but the other part of it is when you've got, I mean, I come from places where farmers have 5,000 and 6,000 acres that they're farming.
Oh, I know.
Good,
That around.
good flat. We don't have that around here. It's different. It's a different, if it's a different situation. It's not, flat, no livestock. You can watch your dog run away for 3 days. Type of land is what we have here. But on the other hand, how much are we willing to tell landowners what we're going to restrict on their farm?
But this is only like a part of the formula, so it's not like. I mean, it's a consideration, it's not like an outright no.
Yeah.
Like how. It's who draws the formula. Like you said, who's sitting here.
Mhm.
I don't like it, but I'm only one person.
I know that.
Well, and when I get it written up and included in next month's draft,
Then
Then we can.
Yeah.
Got it again.
yes.
Wouldn't be any fun if we didn't have anybody who,
No, I understand, we gotta look at both all sides, I agree with that. Okay,
Yeah, we've got number 3 there.
So moving on, then we can start where we left off. At road use and infrastructure. Thank you. And I also then I did bring the wind turbine ordinance. I do have the road use and infrastructure written. And then maybe to keep it similar and consistent, we can kind of keep it with the wind turbine.
I would think it should be pretty similar, yeah.
if not identical, yeah, I think that.
Yeah, I don't know why, I can't remember what was all on but yeah. I know there was something there about.
We had lots of discussion of that part too.
There was, yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
doing a base, look at it beforehand. and-
Do remember
Yeah.
that, and, Jaden, the engineering's office, had also looked at it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
So we will use the consistency with that. Section 15 with the decommissioning and abandonment. Which is also a topic that is a wind turbine topic. I don't know how similar they can be with decommissioning, maybe fairly similar with abandonment. And we do have a decommissioning plan. Prior to permit approval, the applicant shall submit a decommissioning plan prepared and sealed by a licensed professional engineer. The plan must include a step-by-step sequence for dismantling, removal, recycling, and disposal of all equipment, foundations, wiring, conduits, and impervious surfaces. estimated cost of decommissioning and site restoration excluding salvage value, identification of responsible parties and contractors, erosion control, grading and revegetation methods, and the restoration of pre-development topography and replacement of topsoil.
And this is part of the, I know we put this into the wind ordinance, and this is part of the thing that I had with that, is that that should be something that is in the contract with the landowner, because yes, we should require this, however, there's only so much we can do, because if the contract has more written in it or less written in it, the zoning still can't override that contract.
And we do have C, responsibility. And do we want to use the specific word contract, or does C cover all that?
Well, wouldn't it mean regardless of the contract, if it doesn't, if the company or the operator doesn't clean it up, the landowner is like whoever said, hey, you can put that on my land, they're responsible. So,
That's probably one that I would have the county attorney look at as well.
Maybe agreement is better than contract.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah. Right,
yeah,
above our pay grade anyway.
I would agree. Do other counties have something similar as well?
That I would check on.
Did you take a look at Clinton County's ordinance they passed it? Data centers?
I did, but that was like right after they passed it, so I haven't.
Got a copy here, but it's not the final one, so I can't say for sure.
We have Jones. I haven't been able to see where Jones actually passed theirs, but I have Clinton, Jones. And there's only like two others, I think. So there's not much to go off of.
Yeah,
Everybody is right now in the same,
Who's
Yeah.
the use for this template that you can use somebody's?
those Clinton.
Okay.
So it's just a compilation of
Yeah.
well, no, Delaware doesn't have one yet.
Okay.
And Cedar does not have one. Lynn hasn't fairly, I mean, Lynn is working on theirs, but they haven't taken it to the commission yet.
Okay.
So,
I've got it. It's here, but I don't know for sure it's the final version.
yeah, I like that. For in the decommissions, spot,
Yeah.
look at Clinton.
yeah.
age
Well, look at-
discontinuance, decommissioning and abandonment. And there's,
Look at all the counties that have something passed. And it's one that I would also, run past the county attorney just to make sure. Um,
Small.
Yeah, that's a good one to get all the language correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not like this.
Moving on to 16, enforcement and penalties. Another responsibility category, operational compliance. The operator is responsible for meeting all performance standards in this ordinance, including noise, vibration, water use, waste management, fire safety, and testing requirements. Land use and restoration. The landowner is responsible for compliance related to land use authorization, zoning conditions, and site restoration in the event of operator default or abandonment. Shared liability. The owner and operator may be held jointly and severally liable for failure to decommission the facility, restore the site, or pay for county incurred abatement costs.
Did we have that go through the attorney as well? Just because with the liability, is that something in their contract? And so, if it's being restored, I mean, can we force that issue? If we don't own the property?
Right.
That's my concern. I don't want the county being sued over an ordinance like this. And that's my, and because we had that discussion a lot on the wind turbines. And so I think we really need to clarify that.
Yes, after we have gone through all the sections, I have gotten everything cleaned up.
Yep.
And I was gonna, have the county attorney give it a
Yeah.
look through.
Because I'm not sure, as the zoning commission, we can force that.
Yeah. Yeah, I will definitely point that out to them. Moving on to the violations and procedures. So when the zoning administrator determines a violation has occurred, a written notice of violation shall be issued to the operator and copied to the landowner of record. The notice shall specify the nature of the violation, required corrective action, and time frame for compliance. Failure to comply within the specified time frame may result in progressive enforcement, including but not limited to civil citations and fines per county code, suspension or revocation of the Board of Adjustment permit, temporary shutdown order for any facility posing an imminent threat to public health or safety, and initiation of civil abatement or nuisance action under Iowa Code Section 657 or County Code Chapter 11. That also does remind me in this where it says Board of Adjustment permit. Since we're changing it from special exception to conditional use permit, I just have it as a general Board of Adjustment permit in here until it becomes a conditional use permit for sure. That's why the little bit of variable language in that. Abatement and cost recovery. If the operator fails to remedy a violation or to complete decommissioning, the county may enter the property to perform necessary abatement or site restoration. All reasonable abatement costs incurred by the county shall be recoverable from the operator and or landowner, including through the decommissioning bond, letter of credit, or lien under Iowa Code Section 331.384. I find it interesting when I talk to Elizabeth at the health department, the counties that she used to work in, and she did a lot of nuisance violations, and she would tell if the county would go in and clean things up. So then when I put this in, I was like, no, it happens, so. Continuing violations. Each day a violation remains uncorrected shall constitute a separate offense. Civil penalties may be assessed per day of continuing violation as established in the county schedule of fines and fees. Coordination with other authorities. Nothing in this section precludes referral to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, state fire marshal, or other regulatory agencies for matters within their jurisdiction. think that's a pretty good section that it just kind of ties a lot of
Yeah,
the rest of the sections together a little bit. And the miscellaneous provisions, non-transferability. Permits issued under this ordinance are non-transferable without prior county approval. I think at one time, the one in Delaware County started with one company and now has a different owner.
and that's possible because that happens a lot with the wind as
Yeah.
well. Did we put that in the wind? I'm not even gonna ask that now. I don't remember either. But that, I mean, that's something that should be pointed out to any of the companies that are doing this.
Mhm. That I think it also is a good feature in this ordinance is that it can be reviewed and redone. It will probably be reviewed and redone every 3 years, because just like technology, it's gonna
It
move
changes.
fast and then change, yeah. Conflict of regulations, where a conflict exists between this ordinance and any other applicable regulation, the more restrictive standards shall govern.
Now, on this one, can we say that if this, because the state typically rules over county and city? Is that how that works? And,
I think we also talked about this once, didn't we?
I think so too. Because can we be more restrictive than the state if the state decides to do something? I'm not sure we can,
Right.
so we need to check on that too.
Mhm.
I just can't remember.
Or at least put something on there, only the state would be the one that could be.
Yeah, I'm not sure we can, and the reason I remember this is because of the brouhaha with all the concealed carry permitting. And how they couldn't be more restrictive, so check on that one.
Yeah. Severability, in any section, clause, or provision of this ordinance is declared, if any section, clause, or provision of this ordinance is declared invalid or unconstitutional by a court of competent jurisdiction, such decision shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance.
Very good.
Yeah,
And then the periodic review. The county may review and update this ordinance at least once every 3 years to ensure continued alignment with state and federal regulations and to address emerging technologies. And then this was just another thing, kind of like we put in the zoning ordinance. To when codes change, it will change.
Right.
yeah.
Did you want to revisit any of the first sections? Of the group? Did you read them or? Section 3, Tom wanted to add, may generate continuous operational noise and may utilize cooling systems. So I added the word may instead of just leaving it general. Section 4. Applicants, instead of strongly encouraged for the pre-application conference, they are shall meet
Shall.
with the zoning administrator, county engineer, and environmental health. Also, the courtesy notices are now supplemental mailed notice, so they're in addition to the published notice, then they are also being mailed by regular mail to all property owners within 1 mile. The got cleaned up quite a bit with the zoning commission shall conduct a public hearing and issue a recommendation to the board of supervisors. The board of super, if that's, if a rezoning is needed. So C got cleaned up if there was a rezoning that needed, or if it was going to Board of Adjustment. The setbacks, we changed that to 1,000 feet from any occupied structure or cemetery managed in accordance with section. I'm going to also check and make sure that I did follow that correctly with my sections. 5C and intended to support compliance with the noise standards of section 6, but whichever section the noise standards is. And occupied structure. The definition of that.
No, the setbacks, did we change that on the sinkhole of 500 feet? Didn't we have 1,000 feet on the wind turbines? Under section 5. I think it was 2. On wind, I think we did 15 or 1,000. It was 1,000 and 1,500. It was the same thing for the livestock building, so. I think. Whatever we did for,
The following setbacks and separation requirements shall apply to all CWACs and meteorological towers, property lines. The setback from any neighboring property line shall be no less than 2,000. The owners of property closer than 2,000 may voluntarily agree by a written waiver recorded with the Jackson County Recorder, which describes the burdened property and advises all subsequent owners of the property of the allowed property line setbacks closer than 2,000 foot. We have public right of way and then communication and electrical line.
we did something on sinkholes too.
That's under,
Is it under sinkhole chapter?
Was there
Wild,
something
is it under
under-
wildlife?
yeah.
Water quality? Is it under water?
Wasn't it the water quality?
CWAC shall not be built within 1,000 foot of a known mapped sensitive area.
That's it. So I think we need to be the same
Yeah,
on that.
Okay.
Change number 3 to 1,000.
so occupied structure. Any building or structure designed for or regularly used by humans or livestock for habitation, employment, assembly, or education, worship, or shelter, whether permanent or seasonal. That pretty much hit everything.
I think so.
The definitions, yeah.
We had lots of discussion. I think
Yes.
that covers everything.
Yes.
I think we beat that one around the bush
Uh-huh.
more ways than.
One question. This one's got 500 feet from property lines, and I know we're a lot longer on the wind ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
They're two different things. Would it be worth thinking about to, keep that at 500 feet, but lower the noise limit?
I think of the sinkholes, we need to keep that consistent.
Well, we are keeping, I'm talking the number
The
two.
property.
Number two,
Oh, for property lines.
if we left that at 500, because it's a different animal than a wind turbine, but lowered our noise limit. Because that's the main concern,
On these things.
that this is,
Right.
so we've got it at 50 right now. Maybe consider dropping that.
If we're
You
gonna
mean
leave it, if we're gonna leave it
Are
closer,
you talking about the decibel level?
Yeah.
Oh,
if we're gonna leave it at 500 feet,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Do you have a,
Because you could go from a wind turbine, you could say, oh, we're gonna go 2,000 feet, but. I mean, this isn't 614 feet tall,
right, yes.
but the main concern is noise, so if we left that at 500, but lowered the noise limit. I'm not sure what a good number is.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you have a good number? or-
Well, I've got, I hear things and I've got something in mind,
Mhm.
40 is something that was being kicked around on what I was hearing.
I can do some research on that,
Okay.
but that's, at least that's a good number to look at.
To drop it from 50 to 40.
That's what I'm listening.
But is that one of those arbitrary ones that get us in trouble?
Nobody's, I don't know how we would get in trouble if nobody's even,
Somebody's measuring it, I mean,
but yeah, but because nobody's gonna sue us that, hey, your limit's too low. Well, that's the rule. We set the rule before you came in.
Well, but that was one of our big concerns with wind, is that what's the arbitrary number? Because obviously hearing protection is required at 80. And 50 isn't really very loud at all.
Well, they kept saying 50 decibels is like a quiet conversation. Well, I don't want a quiet conversation outside of my bedroom window every night. So that's why I think 50 is too high.
But that's your number. Somebody else might be okay with it. I mean, if you ever listen to calves bawling after they've been weaned, it's much higher than that. And so,
That cat's in my backyard, I know about it.
and so. Yeah, you've had a few, but you haven't had 200 of them bawling, right?
My family
You
is
know.
farmers, I know. what
So-
you're talking about.
That's why I'm saying it's arbitrary. I'm not disagreeing
Well,
with
if
you,
that number is arbitrary, then everything in here is arbitrary.
but I'm not disagreeing with you, but when you start lowering it, this is where we got into the discussion with the wind turbine. Is that we had to be really careful because there were counties that were being sued for the noise ordinance. I think it was somewhere out in western Iowa. And so we had to be cognizant of that as well. So
Were they successful lawsuits?
I think one of them was.
Have they already issued permits?
With, Mid-American was able to do it, was able to sue them, and came out ahead on that. So that was the big discussion on that. So do we leave it, do we increase the distance instead? And leave it at 50? That might be a better option than keeping it at 500 and lowering the decibels.
what would be the difference?
Attorneys,
I just think it's better to have a strong ordinance now. It's a lot easier to go the other direction than it is to a company's here and then we realize we screwed up. And I've watched this whole thing go on Clinton County for the past 2 years of the wind ordinance. Because they had a weak ordinance in place and tried to change it.
yeah, and then they really screwed things up and they've got a problem now.
Well, they passed,
This is, we're
They passed
Jackson
it this
County,
morning.
so we're Jackson County, so this is
so,
very different than Clinton County. Clinton County's flat, we're not. So I think we would be better off with more feet than the lower decibels. And the reason I say that is because the terrain is very different here in Jackson County than what it is in
Well,
Porter County.
I mean, you can use that as a general term. If there's flat ground in Jackson.
There, I
I
don't,
mean, we can't,
I don't disagree with that, but we
some
don't,
guys, some people are owning flat ground in Jackson County that they should be able to, you know, you want to go back to, they should be able to do what they want with their ground, just like before. You know, that you don't want to take high quality ground out, but it's, you're restricting them from doing something with their ground. If you extend the distance more. So it's kind of a,
but we did that with the wind. We had
I know.
we had this same discussion with the wind. Do you not
I do
remember?
remember. I wasn't in favor of going that long, but that's how it passed, so that's why democracy works,
Representative Republican.
whatever you call it, democracy.
No, it's not.
For
Yes,
in
well-
the CWAX decibel level shall not exceed 50 dBA as measured from the property line of any non-participating parcel.
And that's what I'm getting at, is that I don't think we should be. I think we would be more arbitrary if we did a different level in this than what we did in the wind ordinance.
Except these are noisier than.
Are they?
It's-
But are they?
Yeah,
It's a-
yeah.
To me,
So
they
it's
are.
arbitrary,
To me,
yeah.
they are, I don't know,
Yeah,
but.
And
so you
does
talk-
that depend?
Some people say the wind turbines are noisier than these are.
yeah,
Now, if you stand right next to these, they're pretty.
and it probably depends on the company, it depends on.
The cooling system.
the
That's
decibel
why-
system.
That's why I'm getting at, I think we should kind of keep it very similar. You know, maybe do it from the property line, 50 decibels. From the property line. I mean, this,
So that's what it says.
That's what we've
That's
got.
what we've
that's
got
what,
right
that's
now.
what we've got, so, yeah.
Noise is something that engineering and money can fix most of the time on some levels.
You just
If
have
they
to give
wanna
it the
solve the
incentive.
problem, they'll solve the problem.
And I don't disagree with that.
So if you were increasing the distance, what would you increase it? Cause right now we've got 1,000 feet from occupied structures and 500 feet from property lines.
And what do we have in the wind, sorry.
2,000 feet.
Except it's.
But that was also because of the height, I think,
Yeah.
because of the fall zone,
It's just
wasn't that? We
Yeah.
did that because of the fall zone.
Mhm.
Well,
It's just different.
partially, I mean, 2,000 feet is way further away than anything's gonna
Right,
land when it's only 600 feet tall. So we're talking 2.5 times height of the.
why don't you do some research on?
Yes, I'll do some comparisons, yes.
Like I'm talking two different things here, from setbacks and noise. Are you doing the setbacks because of the noise? Or are you doing the setbacks because of some other reason?
Well, the sinkhole, that is. more
I understand that
of
one.
an issue.
Yeah, I get that. I don't have an issue with that. Whatever it needs to be. I'm thinking it probably should be more than 500, but I don't know much about sinkholes. So I don't know how far away you need to be to worry about whether water is. Or groundwater, if you're messing up your groundwater or something like from the sinkhole.
I can,
And that all
I can
depends,
show you a few.
that all depends on where you are, so. Building down,
Mhm.
really, okay. Some people are gonna be up and some are gonna be down. Some people's property.
I will research that.
Here's your task.
Yes. I still think it will be better getting prepared for this meeting. That was a doozy. And my
Um. How often do they need to measure the noise? Start up and never again, or what's this with me?
The wind, because we had that discussion too.
maybe put in the.
Evaluated every 3 years. When,
The sound analysis, is that where it would be?
yeah. It's, D and number 12.
Oh, yeah, every 3 years.
Shall be completed every 3 years by a professional certified, but it's CE.
Can we put something in there that it could be checked more often if there was, say they had an issue with
Complaint.
a bearing, neighbors are complaining about a noise. That could trigger a review.
I thought that was,
You could put that in, but then is that gonna become a chronic
Right.
issue?
section 6,
You're gonna have
B,
to be doing it every 2 or 3
3.
months. So I complain about noise.
Just think we need something, because if it's.
I understand that.
Every 3 years, then
Yeah,
something bad could happen.
I understand that, but how do you
Right.
govern it or control
Each person only gets so many complaints.
it? Yeah. So many fouls.
B3, monitoring enforcement. The county may require baseline noise measurements before construction and post-operation testing after commencement or in response to complaints.
So the May part of that. We give you some discretion if you know it's just a,
A crime
okay,
Mhm.
and solution.
That's probably. a
That's
good way to
probably
put it.
better language.
It's gonna go where they go. Started. Or,
Commencement operation.
you know, it's not that sound like a to me, but.
Then
Real region,
That's probably,
something like that.
yeah. After becoming fully operational.
I like it better than commencement, but.
If you have,
testing after.
just wondering if you have fully in that sentence, and they didn't ever start up their last.
Right, that's true.
And they said, and it never triggered the sound measurement,
Mhm.
was the thought.
But they have a year to become with the permit.
But they could have the one last fan that doesn't.
Yeah.
Slap that off because we're not fully operational yet.
Then if they don't do it within a year, does their permit become null and void?
Well, they're still running, they're just not running at capacity,
It's true.
or their fans at capacity.
Mhm.
You say before construction and testing after commencement of full operation. Oh.
Or have
Because
to
that's a bad sentence.
notify the zoning office. Yeah, something.
And,
Yeah, that first bullet point on 3 is not. The wording isn't.
After startup.
but then again, like Brian said, at startup, they might not keep only running
You have to say
Yeah.
like full,
half production.
full operational.
And how do we know that?
Right.
And they push the big red button.
When they push the big red button.
Then they're on.
Then they're on.
You know, they might only have one unit and be considered operational. But then
Yeah,
tell the
that's right.
county that they're not, so it's
Or tell them
very,
that they are fully operational.
it's very subjective.
Yeah,
Exactly, say that they are fully operational when there might only be one going.
Well, why are we saying may instead of shall on that? Shall require baseline noise measurements before construction
We shall say shall.
the
and
baseline one, yeah, I can see
the
that.
Yeah.
baseline and after they start operation. Or in response. To complaints.
Yeah, I think it shall be, that
I don't know, though,
But
once you
then you
get.
add the crank clause. like-
Yeah, then you, yeah, everybody, if they complain every 2 weeks,
Right, I mean,
then
you
they
gotta,
have to,
I know, you gotta have a crank clause.
yeah, you gotta have something there.
Can we just include more testing? After, for the first year?
and how do we know that they're not gonna not completely give all of the information to us?
Well, I'm guessing there's,
Well, you have like an.
is it say a
independent-
third party?
Yeah, it's an independent.
All testing must be performed by an independent acoustical engineer qualified. in
So they've gotta be,
environmental
they
inspect-
gotta be compliance, they got.
But that doesn't say they have to report it to us, though. It just says
And then
some,
it has
some
to be-
third party has to do it, they could have, you know,
Mhm.
Talking about corruption going
The-
on there.
well, I'm talking about, they get the guy checking out at Casey's to come do it, and then they don't tell you what it, you know, what it is anyway.
If we added more testing throughout the first year, they're not going to run less for the first year just to avoid noise testing.
Or are they?
Or are they?
And they know when the people are showing up and they shut stuff off
That's just,
while they're there.
that's what I'm getting at.
And
And
then,
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to make these companies bad, I mean, things can
Trust
happen.
and
Yes.
verify,
Trust but
verify.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to leave the in response to complaints in there
Yes, that.
for
does-
Yeah,
that
that's gotta
reason.
be-
Yeah,
It's
And
gotta be in there somehow, but we just can't say that they shall do it every time they get a complaint.
can we have shall and then a separate thing for responding to complaints?
That probably makes more sense somewhere, yeah.
Where we can require it. Where we can require it in response to complaints, and you know who the cranks are in the county? I
at
don't
the
know.
administrator's
At
discretion,
the
administrator's
Yeah.
discretion,
that's good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good, okay.
And throw them back under the bus.
So she makes the big bucks.
I mean, really, I mean, you know,
today we're gonna go measure the DBA.
that puts a lot of responsibility on you for that though.
That's why it's at her discretion. If you've got, you know,
I know, but it's,
that they can if you leave it to the administrator's discretion, it's not only Becca, it could be, you know,
No, I know, she's not gonna be here forever.
but.
She's young, she's gonna be here a long time.
But if you have that in there, then we're not saying every complaint. Because you're gonna have that one person who's gonna complain. As soon as it's turned on and there's one unit and you can barely hear it.
So maybe you investigate the first couple of times and then you're like, this guy's a crank.
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna
So
ignore it.
similar to a nuisance complaint.
Yes,
Exactly, that's what I'm getting at, so
Mhm.
that's where I think. We need to look at it.
And then also similar to administrative discretion, because then you kind of,
No.
No, yeah.
right,
Mhm.
some preliminary investigations already will take place.
Cause then if you get a new person that really, you know. That you've never had a complaint. From before. That kind of gives you a heads up that, hey, we need to check this out.
More than likely, that's probably not gonna happen that way, because you're gonna get complaints from the people that live closest to it.
Yeah, but if you've got somebody
And
who's
there's probably
never,
not gonna be anybody to build a new house next.
right,
If they did, they shouldn't have to, they shouldn't complain.
Yeah.
It's like
As far as
building,
I'm concerned.
it's like building next to the airport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're next to the railroad
Or buy,
tracks.
yeah, like that.
or a hog building, or
That too.
livestock building, or something like that, yeah.
Thank you for not having any of them.
Oh, I have a story for you about this, when we leave here.
Shows the better neighbors.
No, actually, she was concerned about her neighbors.
Hmm.
And chemicals floating that way.
Ah,
My hot tub? What? No. It was the chemicals, it was the wind,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, and the winds.
Okay, so in section 4, that got cleaned up with the, what zoning commission is responsible for, then what the board of adjustment is responsible for, so if there's no, if it doesn't need to be rezoned, then it just goes directly to the board of adjustment, so all that sequence of events was kind of then spelled out a little bit better in section 4. With the completeness and review timeline. So it just gives the applicant all of the steps that will take place once they submit the application. And then it gives just the extended timeline for the whole entire process, and not just with the review with the Board of Health, zoning administrator, and the county engineer. Some of the setbacks to wind energy at the end of section 5, and then section 6. That is where we change the decibels from 55 to 50. Cooling systems and water reuse, that's where we changed it with the topics of discussion from last time. Section 8 is where we changed it to have it be advisable with the county health department. 9 got reworked. With, to make it a little safer for the first responders.
What is, under A? Materially reducing service quality. What's the definition of materially? How broad is that? It does, it sounds very broad.
If you just take that word out,
Without reducing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just take out.
It does, yeah.
section
A.
9A.
Cause I'm not hearing good things about electrical consumption and the impact on residential customers. So yeah, taking out material.
Material could be,
Material.
is it,
I would
yeah,
take that
is
out.
it slowing things down? Is
Yeah,
it,
well, that's what they're.
is it
that's what they're
reducing their
getting at, but
bill?
How
or-
much is it, how much is
Yeah.
it reducing it? How much is it increasing our costs?
Mhm.
That's,
Yes.
it's broad.
Yeah. It's much better without it. There's a whole adding more costs.
Yeah, I mean, is that even something that falls within the zoning board's scope?
Probably not.
So I'm not sure that's something we can really, it doesn't have anything to do with land use. That's my concern with that.
I mean, like that whole, section.
Well, we really don't have any regulatory authority over, you know, material reducing service quality and reliability for existing customers. That's not under the zoning board. We're land use, that does not fall under land use.
That's why I'm saying. the
And
whole
I'm not
section.
sure that, you're right, Mike, I'm not sure that I think the only thing that we can do. I mean, can we even require that? I think you're right, I'm not sure we can even,
I mean, I'd like to, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure we can. That really does not fall under what a zoning commission does, I'm not sure that, you're right, I'm not sure. Section
They're gonna
9
blame us if there's a problem.
Maybe C might be able to stay in there.
Why? Why are we requiring a repeating testing of backup power system? That doesn't have anything to do with land use. Or land use. So,
The noise, yeah, some of C with the noise standards,
I mean, the noise standard, yes, but the electrical grid, that really has nothing to do with the zoning board. On that.
and routine testing of backup power systems shall be conducted in a manner that minimizes off-site noise impact.
I'm not sure we can require that. I think you're right, Mike. I'm not sure that section 10 even belongs in here. Or, yeah, section
The only
9.
thing with C is if you've heard backup generators, when they do their testing on them, they go from 0 to full throttle in just a few seconds. And they're usually, some of them are fairly loud.
But wouldn't that be covered under the noise?
Yeah, that would be covered under the noise.
Yeah, I guess
Doesn't
it could be.
doesn't the noise just specify the actual units?
Could we just make sure that the
And
noise section
backup.
covers backup generators?
Yep.
Some of those are
Yeah,
pretty
that's
quiet, it depends on the sound suppression system on,
Right.
I've heard loud ones, I've heard quiet ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure that fits.
Thank you, question for the county attorney.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yeah.
I don't think we can, being a zoning board,
I mean, I
that.
would take it out.
I don't think it fits.
I don't either, but I'm not county attorney.
Mhm.
What did we do? Um,
You talking about article one.
Yeah, I was looking for,
The only thing I can see is in section 10,
yeah, with,
electrical codes and standards, but that I think is more about how everything is wired for safety rather than
right,
for, I shouldn't say safety, but in compliance with the, how electricity is supposed to be, you know.
and that's what I'm looking at, like with 10.
I was just looking for that too, because it
Um,
seemed like we had that discussion, but
we-
then did it get taken out?
It did get taken out because of the problem that it's not a zoning issue. And I don't think we can require all of that.
Section 10, you know, about.
Yeah, fire emergency and safety.
Yeah. I
Besides,
think like with the containment,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can. But
and emergency contact information.
that we require the contact information, which I think we can do. But as far as like the emergency plans and things like that, I don't think we can require that. And I think that's something that we did take to the county attorney and they said, no, you can't really dictate that, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's something to go back and look at too, because we had a huge discussion on that as well.
Yeah.
See anything, when you want to talk.
I have no idea.
And I think we had a lot of this in there,
Uh-huh.
and then then we really could not require it and had to take it out.
I will double check.
Now, with the. Is that something that the county engineer can require? And, or not, because I know when we looked at putting our new address sign up. We got our street number, but because of the way the EMS map is drawn,
Mm-hmm.
technically, we fall under Lamont, but we're on a level C road. So the closest way from Lamont, you have to cross through Zwingle. And we were trying to figure it out for mail as well.
Oh, right.
So, but across the road from us, it's still listed as Zwingle. The map is really goofy. So we talked to Jaden. Jaden had to talk with all of the EMS groups in Jackson County and the postal service to keep our address in Zwingle instead of Lamont.
Hmm.
So what I'm getting at with the emergency response, who controls that in the county? And is that something that can be required through another department and not the zoning is what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure the zoning is the place that it needs to reside,
Right.
but is it something in the county engineer's office
Mm-hmm.
that can be controlled? Or where does that follow? Where does that flow?
Right.
We're all volunteer organizations,
It's just programmed in the system. That address is programmed in to go in.
I know that, but who kind of controls that?
Shows how,
Regulates.
you mean whether who's going to respond or
But-
your tax dollars is on.
No, what I'm talking about is if you get a business out in the middle of nowhere. So, what is it out? Who moved what out by Bellevue? It's south, it's on Highway 52 now, I can't remember what it was. It was north of Bellevue before. It was sold and it was moved to south of Bellevue, and I can't even think what the business name is. I could drive right there to it, but I remember what it is. Are there any, and I think it's a mechanics or something, I don't remember. Is there something in their zoning? It's not in their zoning,
Mm-hmm.
but is there something that the county requires them to have with the fire suppression and things like that? If there's not,
Right.
I don't think we can include it in here.
So we've got fire suppression in the wind ordinance. I think we should have it here also.
But I realize that, but I think, I'm not sure we can require it as my.
We did.
Did.
When-
I know we did it for that. But I'm wondering about like with the emergency response plans and things like that. Yes, we required it on for the fire suppression. I'm
Section,
not sure we should have.
section K.
Yeah.
I agree that we did it. I think it's wise. But walking through and looking at some of these things. Should we have done it? And legally, can we do it? I don't know. That's,
Mm-hmm.
or like I said, is there some other place within the county structure that can require it?
Right. So yeah, what, that was like a mechanic, you said, that one?
Yeah, and I can't, I think that's what they do. I'll have to ask my husband. I said I can drive right there.
Almost like a condition, like to supply some type of,
But
but to
I
require.
don't think there's any restrictions on county coming in and saying, you have to have this, or you have to have that. The
The county,
rural business,
the county.
the cities are that way.
the county. But I'm not sure that resides or should reside with the zoning. Because.
No, I agree, but
Strictures for the
I'm
land
guessing
use.
there's probably nothing about anything
Yeah, can't, yes.
But can they?
in who.
Can
Can
like
the
the
county?
engineer, can somebody else do
Similar
it?
to the city.
Well, if he does, he's kind of picking out one business that he's doing it to and not anybody else.
That's what I'm getting at here with the data centers. This is one type of business that we're requiring all of this. But we're not
Without everything
requiring
else.
it, we're not requiring it
Okay.
of other places that can also have more combustible materials.
Since we don't do building permits, we do zoning, you guys, so, yeah,
Right.
that kind of, if it was a building.
Part of the thing is the nature of a fire and data center is gonna be different than a machine shed running down.
I'm not talking about a machine shed. We've also got fertilizer facilities too.
Well, if we're.
We've got one out.
Do we
in
have
the
a
lot.
fertilizer ordinance? If they asked us to write one, could we?
But it's
require ours to put
agriculture
it?
related, this is the problem, that's ag related, it's very different than businesses like this.
They asked us to write a data center ordinance, so I think this is good to have in.
I'm not sure that we can legally do it though, because of
Well,
the
let's check.
purpose of the zoning. That's what I'm getting at, we need to check, because if we can't legally do it, is there another office in the county that can require it?
Right.
Because if we start putting this in for particular types of businesses, when we're zoning them like an industrial location, we have other industrial locations throughout the county that we do not require it in.
Mhm.
So what attorney is gonna pick this up and sue us? Because guess what? You're not requiring this industrial location that has more chemicals involved in it than the data center.
We'll definitely look into it. And we can put bits and pieces of in there.
Yeah, that's just my concern. And like I said, I know we put it in the wind ordinance.
Yeah, that's probably same question there.
Exactly.
So we wanna check on the legality, and if it's not legal, what other governmental entity can enforce it or implement it?
Right.
If- Good plan. In section 11, we added the word e-waste, electronic waste. But all good to change with town.
That's one we should check with the DNR on as well. Because I know. There are other regulations with that. So we may need to see if there's already state regs with the DNR with this.
Okay.
Same thing with the timely removal of it. And the documentation. I'm not sure we can require that either. That's something we need to look at the DNR on.
Screening, fencing, and lighting in section 12, we changed that to keep consistent with the electrical substation. Added operator's expense throughout.
Big picky thing here,
Yeah,
under, where you start with visual screening. Through. The end of, well, no, most of that section, you've got the bullet points that are. Not shaded in.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and the rest of them are, so.
That's not picky, that's.
Sandra's not here, so I gotta do it.
Yes. Even today I was looking at, and even now I'm looking at some of it and I'm like, oh, I think that formatting needs to tweak just a little bit, but
Sometimes that's so hard to do.
yes. When I change it and it changes everything and.
So the exterior lighting on this too, we also. We used to. Could still be there. There was an ordinance that was in place even before I got on this board. Even, could have been, no, I think Tom might have been on the board when it was about exterior lighting. We might already have something in the ordinance because there's some place over north of Bellevue that I think when I got on the board, they were talking about that didn't fit the lighting requirement. So look, I think we might have something there.
That would be good to refresh a lot of people's mind, I would guess, if it happened when Tom got on.
Ask Tom about it because I know we had something about lighting and interfering with neighbors and I kind of. Yes, they did, because I thought, who would have thought of that? But there was something on Highway 52. Don't even remember what it was, but I remember Tom and,
Probably,
Kmeyer, Tim Kmeyer discussing it, like when I first got on the board.
Marty's. I remember that.
No, Marty's is in Dubuque County.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, could be, yeah. I'll have to say that it's.
Yeah, they're in Dubuque County. But there was something out there. Was there a vote place or? I don't recall, but there was something about the lighting. So I think we already have something on that, so check that.
Yeah, that
So
would
that we
be,
match.
yeah, good to even for home-based businesses to have that in the limelight. so to
Yeah,
speak.
there was something there. So, yeah, I was not in on that one.
Structure, the building mat, earth tone colors consistent, did that change any of that? Site maintenance. Added all costs. For the operator responsibility. And then the structural standards. From the handout last time, permanent construction, prohibited structures, condition and maintenance.
How come we added cargo and shipping containers?
Because some of them are using those.
Those prohibitive structures.
From construction.
concrete foundation. So yeah, it lists cargo or shipping, railroad cars, semi-truck trailers, mobile or temporary storage units, and then any other portable or non-permanent structure not designed for long-term building occupancy. Back to where we started. In record time.
Very covered that.
I think. Any other comments, questions, additions, topics to consider for next time?
We'll have more next time.
Oh, yes. And I'll do a lot of research and come back with updates. So at least we've made it through it completely once now.
That's big progress.
That is in 2 meetings.
That was like 8 months to 1 month.
Yeah, I think that's great.
18 months for the whole process.
I mean, for the first time, too.
That's true.
And I mean, we have something to go off, to reference.
Well,
Yeah.
And it's not as detailed.
And it's not as detailed. So yes, it's super helpful to have that basics covered. And next time we will have a rezoning note, but I'll let Mike continue with the agenda.
Okay, so do we have any items from the public? Do you have any? Okay. Okay, so they're not supposed to be, according to it's not supposed to be about this matter, right?
Now what matters on the agenda, correct?
I'll just tell you later.
Okay. We will get that added. We will have
Without public.
some public input.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been this is trying to be helpful, but I'll tell you later.
Do we have anything from any commissioners have anything want to bring up? Probably. Becca, you have anything?
Next meeting will be January, I lost my agenda.
20th.
Thank you, January 20th, 6 p.m. And we will have a rezoning to start the meeting with next.
Okay,
Wait, January 20th or 19th?
We're going to Tuesdays, we're staying on Mondays.
Oh, wait, you know what, I might have been looking at 2025. Let's do January 19th.
That sounds good.
Yeah, okay.
It's already on my calendar.
Perfect. January 19th, 2026 at 6 p.m. It's actually a major subdivision that we will have.
and I understand the supervisors approved the ordinance, right?
Supervisors have signed the ordinance. It will be published. The summary will be published next week. And then it is goes into effect 30 days after publication date.
For the zoning ordinance.
Yes, I've had quite a few people stop in the office and talk about projects that they want to start in the spring. Leisure Lake people and some Dresslers people, and they've been pretty happy about the new zoning regulations for themselves.
Did they know about the new changes or did you just explain it to them? Okay. So it makes it easier for them.
Yeah, they did not know about the changes.
Okay, that's,
So if we have nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Anybody opposed, excuse me, it's approved.